Lovely. Missouri, Toronto, nice. Los Angeles, Pakistan, India. Wonderful. Texas. Good to see everyone from all over. Winnipeg. Charleston, West Virginia. Toronto again. A lot of Canadians today, yes. All right, Jean from Atlanta. Lovely. Well, thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate you all coming today, being here with me and joining me for this presentation. I'm so happy that you were able to come and take this hour out of your busy day, out of your schedule in the middle of the day like this. And we're really going to have a nice conversation here. I want to be able to give you some information. I want you to also be able to ask me questions too, once I have given you that information and these tools and techniques that I'm going to share with you today. So what I want to do is just give you a little quick overview of what I'm going to do during this next hour and what I'm going to do. Oh, there we go. Clicked and it wasn't going. All right. So what I want to do is we are going to go over, and I see I have become blurry. Hold on just a moment. Let's see. Oh, hold on just a minute. There we go. Technology works with you or against you at times. You never know. All right, very good. So I want to go over with you all about the voice and how it's going to support you or your team when it comes to getting client conversion, creating 2 times the revenue or even more. So the idea is that the sound of our voice is what's going to drive this. So I want to give you 3 different tips, 3 different techniques to use. And inside of those techniques, I'm going to show you about the 5 vocal power drivers of melody, pace, pitch, tone, and volume that we can incorporate into the use of your voice. The other part of this too is connecting emotionally. So your emotions. I'm going to talk about 4 emotions that are most important when it comes to conversion and selling and speaking with a prospect or client. After that, what I want to do is give you a special offer just for you and your team, and then also answer questions. And at the very end, if you stick around to the very end after the questions, I have a special free gift for you. So that's how this hour is going to look. So let's get into it. And I want to get started with the fact that we have to cut through the noise. You need less words and more emotion. Again, less words. When we're selling, it's all about, sometimes we think about it's what we're saying to people. But in the end, it is about how we emotionally connect. That's where it's important, because when we are getting emotionally connected, that's when the whole idea of how people like and trust you comes in. Also, the confidence their confidence in you, and how you have the influence over them. So 3 things that I want to take a look at here is the fact that we have to control their perception of you. And you have to do it quickly. Microsoft has now done research again where it's down to 7 seconds. You've got 7 seconds to impress. So we have to touch the person quickly, touch them emotionally, move the people emotionally, and then control the outcome. The way that we are connecting emotionally really involves our sound and how it actually vibrates off in another person, no matter if it's through the screen like this or whether it's in person. Those vibrations bouncing off the other person is where that emotional connection comes in. So we have to have that, and we have to do that. We're doing it through the use of and with the sound of our voice. Now, I want to ask a question. I would like you to answer me in the chat. What percentage of the world do you think, what percent is it, the world is monotone? Go ahead and put a number in. And when we talk about monotone, we're talking about when someone talks and they stay on that same note and they continue to stay on the same note. Sometimes it might go up 1 note or 2 notes and come back down, maybe to go down low, come back up, but it stays right there. And what is the perception you have of people that you hear are monotone? How does that hit you? Is it appealing? Do you want to listen to them? Or does it kind of set you back, turn you off, and you just like, they aren't that interesting? So we've got percentages coming in. Ooh, lots of variations. We got 25%, 33, 2/3, 90%, 82%, 75%, 20%. And we've got, where did I just see that one? Oh, Isaac, 85%. Ding, ding, ding. You are the winner. Yes, it is 85% of the world. When you think that there's 7 billion people, that's nearly 6 billion people that are sitting on more of a monotone sound. How crazy. And when we think of the monotone, are they happy? Do you, as a salesperson, does your sales team present in a way that they sound excited, that they sound happy? You want to think about that. What is their voice like? This is going to make you more aware of what the voice is doing. So we have to, again, control their perception of you. So carrying the emotion of happy and grateful and using different affects, using different uses of the sound of your voice to create that can make a huge difference. And I'll get into that a little bit more in detail, what you can use to create happy, create grateful, passion, to create confidence. And let's look first, though. I want to know what makes you believable. Go ahead and put, is it words? Is it emotion? Is it physicality? In the chat, just start putting that in there. Which one makes you most believable? Because Albert Moravian, he did a study back in the 70s, and he was a professor emeritus at UCLA. And he took a look at this to see what is it that is going to make you believable. What is the most important? What can it be? Oh, you guys are good. Yes. Emotion. I agree. Emotion is the most. And when we look at it, look at the percentage for words. Words matter the least, just like I said. It's not the word you say, it's the sound of your voice that makes the difference. Emotion, he referred to that as vocal tonality. So when we take the emotion and that physicality, because I believe that both of those have to interact with each other. You could have the happiest sound in the world, but if it doesn't show up on your face, then it doesn't quite mean as much. So yes, you must have both the emotion and the physicality together. So the sound of your voice, the vocal tonality inside of emotion, is where we want to go with this. And when you think about this, is your level of client conversion and continual revenue, they are directly connected to your ability or your team's ability to communicate. And so what we have to do is change the way that you sound. It's the easiest way to do it. And it's just subtle, very quick changes. The things I'm going to show you are easy to do. It's the practice of it and the continuation of using these techniques that really hone in and make you top of your game when it comes to this. Think about the fact, I say you weren't born with the voice you have today. And you're going to say, but my voice, if I change it, I won't sound like me. Well, we're just taking parts of it and we're creating some added bonuses to your voice. You've got to think about your voice when you were born. You were influenced first, right off the bat, by your parents. Whoever was taking care of you, that's who you heard. That's who you imitated. That's where your voice began to be created. And then as you, either depending on your age, whether you were on to watching TV, computers, then you began to be influenced by that. I think about my 4-year-old who she has copied me, and she'll imitate things that I say. So she's being influenced, but at the same time, she's also creating her own voice. I help her do that. And also she is watching her favorite cartoons, and especially there's some Australian ones that she loves to watch. She imitates those just in the language. Think about when she's saying, oh, well, oh, you're so cheeky, or hey, lovey. So she's putting on, imitating those sounds, those mannerisms. And so that begins to come out. And you have done those same things. And knowing that gives you room to actually say, wait a minute, now I can go in and I change things. I can experiment. It's not like you're going to have this brand new voice, you're going to be somebody different. It's not about that at all. So as we do this, we start to move people emotionally. And when we're moving people emotionally, it's not dependent upon the script that you have. If you use a script, if you have that certain, you got to say whatever your product might be. You think about when we were young and we were picked on to say read in school, and we read the text in the book, but we read it in a way that it was just the words. We read the words because that's what we were supposed to do. We were so self-conscious. We had no idea really what we were reading. I can remember, after I read something, I had no idea what I read. And there was no affect in it. So we want to create the emotion. So if you have a script, you want to take and just put some bullet points on it. You know your product, you know it so well and innately that you can talk on it, you can speak on it. And now we want to put that passion into it and that confidence into it. So as we go through, I want to start and begin with the 5 vocal power drivers of melody, pace, pitch, tone, and volume. And let me give you an introduction to each one of these. I first want to talk about melody. Melody is about the ascending and the descending sounds. It's like, think of it as stair steps. As we go up the stairs and go up a little bit higher, and then we come back down. So as we add this melody in, then we are creating a mood. You can create the mood of the situation through the melody, how much melody you use. But there's times when we don't use as much melody, we don't need to, or we might use more. So you have to practice doing that, going up and coming back down. Sometimes it might be a jump and it might come back down. or it might come sliding down like a staircase. But again, you have to play with this. Our next one is pace. How fast or how slow should we be talking? If we go too slow, then we sound like we're talking down to somebody. You don't want to be talking too slow or that you're talking to a child. You don't want to go too fast. Have you ever heard the people who just, and they're going so quickly that you can't even track them and you just tune out after a while? So you have to take, if you had a scale of 1 to 10, like kind of in the middle in generally, say between, 4 to 7. Now also we've got pauses that we need to create. When we do the pauses, it gives the listener, your audience, a chance to process what you're saying. If you just continually keep talking and they never get a chance to think about what you've said, then they are again going to go, oh, I'm overwhelmed. I'm just going to tune you out, and they don't listen anymore and they're distracted. When you come to a period, that's when you want to do a little pause. And it's only barely maybe a second. If you count to 2 in your head, that's all it is. But that's all we need, because we're always processing billions of pieces of information a second. So that split second is enough time to give that person a chance to really take in what you're saying. Volume. How loud and how soft are we going to be? If we are too soft, then it doesn't portray confidence. So we want to bring that volume up. At the same time, we don't want to be really loud all the time, because some people will take that as being angry. And if you're always sounding angry, no one is going to want to buy from you at that point. So we want to be at a point where you're kind of in the middle again. Experiment with it. Yet there are times when it is going to be louder, and that's okay. But where you'll figure out where the appropriate emotional moods, where that is to be. Our next one, tone. Tone is how airy or how edgy I'm going to sound. We think of airy as kind of the Marilyn Monroe airy. Again, that can portray less confidence. Great for the bedroom, but not the boardroom, okay? So we want to bring that up, come closer. You can be in the middle, you can go towards edgy. And edgy, that's a good time when you are ready to really influence the person. You're going to go to that more edgy sound. And we call that edgy sound, it's in the what we call the chest voice. And if you put your hand right here and you speak in an edgy tone, you should feel it vibrate right here. And that's when you know you're in that edgy tone. And when we're speaking in an edgy tone, that produces and it gives the perception that you are portraying more confidence and that you're in command of the room, of the outcome, and of what is going to happen. Our last one is pitch. Pitch is each of the tones. Think of a piano. We've got 88 keys on a piano. And each sound that comes out of that, our voice could actually do 40 of the notes on a piano if we were to really exercise it and develop it. At this point, many of us remember monotone is only about 1 to 3 different tones, different pitches. So we want to expand that some. Even if we take it up to just even 10, you have made a huge difference. So you want to practice doing more inside of melody. So pitch, each of the pitches creates melody when we put it all together. Just like in a song, we've got notes that create a melody, a string of notes that create that song, that melody, so that fluidness. So developing those low and high tones is important to, again, create the connection, the emotional mood, and be able to convert those clients and create that wonderful, that 2x more than that revenue for yourself. So as we continue with this, what we want to do is put these all together. And this is when we now can predetermine and control the outcome. Like I said, you are establishing yourself as a strong character. And by using, say, especially when we're controlling that outcome at the end, that chest voice and using a little more volume to really bring that across. That's an example of what you can do to control that outcome. Now we have to put these with 4 emotions that are very important when it comes to converting the clients and also getting that 2x revenue. These 4 emotions of happy, grateful, passion, and confident, if you use these in this order, these become the basis and the groundwork for you to have the outcome you want. Think about it. When you start a conversation, you want to appear as you're happy. You're happy about being here. And at the same time, then you want to be grateful and appreciative for that person taking the time to listen and to be with you. And then you're sharing your passion for your product. As you do that, you show your excitement, that passion. And then this becomes that confidence that eludes through and shows the person that you are here to do business and that you now, with that confidence, control that outcome and you are an influence on them. Now, I want to take a look at 2 of these. I want to take a look at happy and grateful and show you how we apply a few of the vocal power drivers so that you have kind of an idea of what to do and how to create these different emotions. So we have happy, and I'm going to use the vocal power drivers of just volume, pace, and melody. And even if you choose one of these to practice with, that can make a transformation on you that is, it's huge. So let's look at volume. When I'm happy, I'm going to have more volume because I'm going to be more excited. And my pace is going to get faster because I'm excited and I have more melody. I go up higher and I can come back down and I get excited about that. So melody, pace, and volume, those we have more volume, faster pace, and ascending melody. With grateful, my volume is going to be a little bit less. I'm not going to be as loud. I don't need to be. And my pace is going to be a little bit slower. And I'm going to sustain some words, some syllables, just a small bit. And I'm also not going to have as much melody. I'll have a little bit. I might go, 1, 2, 3, 4 different pitches, but I'm not going to use the huge amount I used for happy. So you can see these differences. They're almost kind of a little bit of the opposites, but yet you can get the feel for the emotion and for what happens when you apply these vocal power drivers. So as you think about this, what is the perception that your client, your prospect has about you, about your team members? Especially when you think about each of these that I've just gone over, the vocal power drivers. Does your team, do you use these? Can you think about how they are perceived now? How do they come across to people? Because inside that, as a sales leader, you're taking control. You're molding the people that you are with, that you are training. You're also always working on yourself too. So in the chat, give me, especially if you're a sales leader, but anybody, give me some adjectives that you can incorporate to create the voice that you want for you or your team. Obviously, confidence is one, but what else? What other adjectives? What other way can we describe how we want our voices to be? How do you want your sales team, your voice to be when you're in front of a client, when you're with people? What is it that you want? Knowledgeable, yes. So these are the things you want to look at. And when we start to look at all the different ways that we want to create and mold and help develop so that the sales team, so that you become the best you can be when it comes to talking to that client, talking to that prospect, and creating that 2x or more sales, those are the things that are going to drive how you are going to develop your team. I love that. Oh, we've got enthused, understanding, passionate. Yes. Knowledgeable. Yes. Voice inflections, physical gestures. Definitely. Those are good ones. Good, good, good. Keep those in mind and listen for that in your salespeople, in yourself. Because as you develop that, as that happens, we are going to get then to the point where we can have that control their perception of you quickly. You are going to move people emotionally, and they and you are going to control that outcome. Now, as we do that, then it all circles back to now we've got more of them liking, trusting you. They're confident in you, and you have influence over them. And this is where I want to be that help to you, because that's where my abilities, what I can do to help you and your team are here for. I want you to take what you just said, as far as what you thought, as far as the adjectives, how you describe and want your sales team or you to be. And I want to be that help for you. And yes, you can certainly do some of these things. You can take those vocal power drivers of melody, pace, pitch, tone, and volume, and you're going to play around with them. And you're going to see and transform and hear some improvements. But to dive deep into it and to keep accountable and practicing and really developing up to another level, that's where I want to help you out. I want to be there for you, most definitely. And there are some things that, other things to go over with you that I would love to share with you. And there's a lot more, but not today, because there's just not that time to do it, because there's more things about the voice type that you are. And just a little hint, some people, remember I said there's monotone, so that's a voice type. But there's also people who might be nasally, or there might be people who have a vocal fry in their voice and it dies out like this, and you hear this all the time. So there's various voice types that I also work on to help create the fullness and the sound that you can create with the sound of your voice, so that it is always there ready for you and ready to make that sale, to create that emotional connection with people. I want to do that, but I have to hear your voice, obviously. And to do that in this setting, well, I can't do it with everybody, but I would love to just get on a call with you. And I want to offer you a call that we can talk together. I want to get to know you. I want to get to know you and what you're in your sales team and what it is that you need, what you want. And I want to see what we can create together, because I want to be here for you and your team. So to do that, I would love for you to get on a call with me and do a deep dive. I'm going to do a 1-hour discovery session with you. And I want you to take the time to tell me about you, your team, and how we can work together to create that. Because there's, everybody's different. So I want to manage that, and I want to create that around you and your personal and needs for your team. Now, I have link down here, I want you to go to that link, and it's the bit.ly link of One Discovery Session, and you can sign up for it there. Be sure you do capital D for discovery and capital S. It is case sensitive. But the other thing I want you to know is when we do this discovery session, it's not only about us getting to know each other and what we can do together. I am also going to give you your own transformation, because I'll have the time to do that. I'm going to listen to your voice, and I'm going to give you a transformation. Remember, I said it's quick and easy, subtle changes that can make this happen. So I want to give that to you and have you feel that quick transformation and see how it can then extend to, besides you, to your team. So again, go to that bit.ly/one discovery session to sign up for that. And I think we have that. Do you have that in the Sadiq, in the, if you could put that in the chat, please, I'd appreciate it. And then what I would like to do now, I want to take some questions, both from the chat, and also I will be happy to listen to some people and also answer questions by audio video. And please stick around, because I'm also going to have that special free gift for you after this too. So I want to share that with you. So stick around for that. So what questions do we have? Are there any that were in the chat, Sadiq? You need to unmute if you're not. Where did he go? Well, tell me, does anybody have any question? We'll be able to receive the, yes, I am going to be sending the recording. If you, and I'll have my information, my email contact at the end here. I would like you to please go ahead and let me know your contact information. I'll be happy to send that recording to you. Okay. And scripting recommendations. Ron, can you unmute yourself and give, I need a little bit more from you. Let's see if we can unmute. Hold on a second. Trying to. Okay, let's take a look here. Here you go. Okay, I think I fixed it. Ron, can you unmute yourself? You should be able to now. I fixed it. Okay. I don't say that, but okay. Well, let me for what here, let me tell you, just without knowing anything, as far as scripting goes. Scripting is, you first have to really identify the person. So it depends if this is on the phone or if this is in person. Especially if you're on the phone, it is all about the welcome, introducing yourself, asking them for their name, using their name a minimum of 3 times throughout the conversation. That's what helps get you related. You also, depending on the situation, want to know how you make the conversation. How did you find out about us? And how, get to know what in their life, what is of interest to them. Again, it depends on the situation, what product you have, what you're selling. And as you get to know them, you got to get them into conversation. So you're asking those kind of open-ended questions to get them to talk to you. And at the end, part of that scripting too is the fact that, especially if you're on the phone, if someone, if they're calling you, they already have an interest. It's like a warm lead. If you've called them and you get them to the end of that conversation on your script, now you have a chance to make an offer of, if they're not interested, of sending them more information. That way you capture their information, their contact information. Or if, depending on if you do demonstrations, offer them a time for a demo. So you have different options. You got to have several options at the end of that conversation that just doesn't leave it, oh, okay, bye, that type of thing. So that's huge in itself, how you're going to handle that. Okay. That's a couple suggestions I can give you. Let me see. Okay. Within first, they're asking for, okay, how to get a grip on conversations within the first 30 seconds, asking from perspective of the cold caller. High tech. Okay. All right. So we got, especially for busy prospects, really acknowledging, of course, again, that emotional connection of acknowledging that they are busy, really starting off the bat with saying, I understand you're busy. I understand that, you know, everyone, you've got things to do. I'm not going to take very long. Do you have the time? Asking for the time, asking permission. I think the biggest thing is asking for permission. I know if I get a cold call and from somebody and they're just jumping in to their spiel without asking permission for anything from me, then it's really, I can't listen. I have been turned off. So the biggest thing is really asking for permission from the person to have this call that you're doing, so that it is not so robotic. That's the other thing with scripts. You can sometimes read off that script and it can sound robotic. You definitely want to create the emotion inside of it. That's why once you have a general idea of your script, you just want to create some bullet points so that then you can go off of those bullet points with emotion then. Okay. All right, let me see here. A speech impediment. How do these techniques apply to someone with a speech impediment? If you're talking about someone who might, let's say they have a stutter, since if you have something specific, let me know. But if we're talking about a stutter, let me tell you the quickest way to fix a stutter. A stutter is a problem with just a lack of air, continuous air. A stutterer can resolve that by continually talking with a breath of air, because when we take our breath of air in, our stomach should be coming out. So as we take a breath in, our stomachs come out, and as we talk and we're breathing out, the stomach is coming in, and I'm continuously creating the air to flow through past the vocal cords. It's just like someone who stutters. If they are singing, they can sing. Think about singing. It's a continuous stream of air. We can do the same when we're talking. If you create a continuous stream of air, that stuttering can be eliminated. So I hope that answers that question for you. Okay, let me see who that was. Okay, Jean. Okay. oh, how can I do these exercises with my team without being insulting or condescending? Hire me. No, well, you could, but you can introduce it in a way where it's more like you're having fun with it. And you have to get them to recognize what's going on with their voice. And inside of, say, an evaluation or something, if you were to evaluate somebody and say, okay, here's what we can do to have you more effective. And let's do some things. Can we play with your voice? Again, ask for permission. Can we do some things with your voice? I would like to try, because you've got, say they have the script down, they have that process down. Well, are you game to try something to add on to what's already happening? You're being successful, but let's try something new. I want to play with your voice. Let's see what we can do. And then could get into actually working with, if you hear that it's melody, if it's that they're monotone, and you want to ask them to do more melody, then at that point where you can play with that a little bit. And when I have somebody work on melody, what happens is I have them do this. Think of the song Happy Birthday. Everybody can do Happy Birthday. And when you are, no matter if you can't sing it or not, if you say you can't sing it, well, you know the tune enough to at least get somewhere around it. So when you sing Happy Birthday, you're incorporating about 8 different pitches. So what you would do is you would take and you would have someone say, like, something that happened to you the other day, or say going to the grocery store, and you'd make a song out of it using the tune of Happy Birthday. So it would be something like this. So you do something like this. I went to the store today to pick up some bananas, and when I got home, they were all rotten. So just something fun and silly like that to kind of get them to open up to the idea, oh, there is more there. And then you would practice having them go up the stairs. You can have them go up the stairs and keep going up and then coming back down. And making a game out of it, especially if you can get people to do kind of one-on-one with each other, put them in pairs, and you can play with that. That gives them the chance then to go ahead and play around with it. Now, when it comes to the other things like with volume, again, that's recognizable when it comes to loud and soft, and you can help bring them back if they're too loud. And the best thing to do is have them record themselves. If you do have a script, have them record that and then listen back to it. And you could say, hey, look at these 5 vocal power drivers, and have them look at that and say, well, hey, what do you think we could incorporate? Now that you've just listened to your voice, what could you do? So you kind of ease them in with that. And that would be a way to kind of show them that they could manipulate and transform their voices that way. Okay. All right, let me come down here. Okay, do we have, let's see. Do we have any other questions that I can answer? Not seeing any more in here. Can allow panels to unmute. Okay. Can you unmute? Can anyone unmute yet? I did set it up that you could do it. I'd really like to. There we go. Ah, here we go. Let me. Okay, hold on. I might have it. I want to find. All right. Okay, Jean, are you there? I've allowed you to unmute. Hello, Jean. You're unmuted, but I don't hear you. Where are you? Ah, I have no idea why I can't hear you. Or, huh. Well, shoot. Let me see. Let me see who else. Sadiq, are you here yet that you can help me out? Jason, let me see if can you talk? Give it a try.
Yeah, it's kind of loud here, but yeah.
That's okay. Got you. Okay, good. Did that answer your question as far as some exercises, what you can do without insulting somebody? Are you there?
There we go. Yeah, absolutely. That was great. And I did like the pitch too. That was great.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Perfect. All right. It might work too if you guys go down. See if you can even raise your hand too. Might be able to undo you from there if you want any other questions answered. Let's see. Going back up here. Let me see. I'm going to come to Ron. Hey, Ron. How about that? I'm going to allow you to talk. Okay. Are you there, Ron?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Hey, how about that?
Woohoo! All right. Did that answer your scripting questions or what specifically?
Yeah, I think you did. It had more to do, I think, with inflection and cadence in a script, where that's most people's phone problem.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And you said on the phone?
Right, on the phone.
Yeah. That's where I was talking about how it gets more robotic sounding because they're using the script. And so they really have to practice not looking at the words. And just if they can get it down to bullet points, that's great. But have it be a conversation. I had one client I was working with. I had her do I just wanted her to tell me about an event. She wrote it all down and then recorded it, but I could tell she was practically reading it because it sounded more robotic.
Right.
And when she would have a regular conversation with me, she had a lot of melody. And I'm like, why can't she add this inside of when she tells a story? So telling a story became more formal to her and more robotic. So I had to have her take and make, she had like about 7 points. And under each point, she had like 4 or 5 bullet points. I said, take out all the bullet points. And now we're down to these 5 little bits. And I said, now I want you to talk about these and use those just as a reference. And when she did that, that took out a lot of that robotic sound. But yeah, she really had to think about this being a conversation like between friends rather than reading the script. So if you can get them to even practice with each other in looking at each other, because it's easy on the phone to say, well, I'm not looking at anybody and I'm just da, 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 da. So to really kind of make it their own, but more than likely, just adding melody would probably make a big difference, I would think. Is that kind of what you hear when it sounds that more robotic sound?
I think so. You know, especially when people are reading
Yes.
Off the script. Not everybody has practiced acting from a script, you know, so you don't get to either hear yourself or get feedback on what you sound like
True.
when you're reading off the script. So
Yeah. And I would suggest if, are your calls recorded?
no.
Well, then I
When we
would,
do training, when we do training, we do that. Yeah.
oh, okay. And and they're listening back to the calls?
Yes.
What are they listening for? What do you have them listen for?
Primarily is response from the prospect. How did they elicit response? Was it a positive response? What could they have done better?
Okay.
And it's more about, I guess I'll use the word context rather than content. It's how you say it rather than what you say. Because I've got some guys that when you listen to them on the phone, it's like dribble, but
Yeah.
yet it's highly effective just because somehow they're able to engage the prospect. And I think it probably has a lot to do with their inflection and enthusiasm.
That is exactly it. They could say, like you said, dribble. It could be nonsense, but if they have that right emotion and inflection in it, it doesn't matter what they say because they've emotionally connected.
Right.
So I would, so you're going basically straight from what they say to what is the reaction of the person on the other end. I would say, take a look at listening. They have to listen to themselves and say, what is it that had that prospect, the person on the other end, react the way they did, and have them evaluate their own voice. And you can take each of these, the melody, pace, pitch, tone, and volume, and just have those words there and say, what did you see in each of these? Kind of do a self-evaluation. But that's where the recordings, I think, are so important, because you're creating a baseline where they then can leap off of that. If they have this baseline of, this is what I hear in my own voice, where can I go? And then they practice the same thing using even just one of the power drivers at a time and making little changes. That's where I think you'll see a difference in then how the person on the other end reacts.
Right.
Yeah. So I would suggest that recordings, and have them evaluate themselves before evaluating how the person on the other end reacted.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Yes, okay. Hold on a second. Hey, Jean, I'm going to try it again. There was 2 buttons I had to hit. Can you unmute, Jean? There, are you there? Because I have you unmuted now. I don't know why you're not coming through. Huh. I'm sorry. I wish I could hear you. Okay. All right. All right. Good deal. Well, again, I appreciate you all being here. And I want to, again, give you this gift for sticking around, my vocal power driver method. Okay. I want you to get this. This is going to go, you'll learn a little bit more about what I was talking about with the vocal power drivers. and how you can do a quick practice with it. Something I was mentioning to Ron about recording yourself. The steps are inside of this guide, and I'd like you to take a look at it. It's kind of your little quick start, you could say. Again, the bit.ly address is bit.ly/get-VPDM with the G capitalized and the VPDM capitalized also. So I want you to go ahead and take advantage of that. And that way you can get that kickstart. And that too will help, especially if you grab that and we get on our call. I think that would be a great way to even start our call. Yes, let me add these links in for you. Let me do that. Okay, here is. Here's that. And then let me know if that doesn't work. It should. And then here's the one for the discovery session. Okay. All right. Got those. And then here is my information. Please take a screenshot of this. And that way you have this available to you. Feel free to email me, contact me, especially use this if you would like a replay. And I already have a lot of you who would ask for the replay, but if you would like the replay, please email me with your information. I will gladly send that to you. As you can see, the offerings I have, of course, I can do 4-hour workshops, great Kickstarter, 3 to 6 month development training sessions. And also I do just small group and one-on-one development with people. So again, if there aren't any more questions, thank you so much for being with me today, for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it. And I have had a great time sharing this information. And this has been just a joy to be here. And everyone, please have a great rest of your week and a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.